So for the last 3 years of my filmmaking and videography journey, my life being a freelance videographer and photographer, this has been my usual setup for audio. A7 IV and the Rode Wireless Go's. These are the original Rode Wireless Go's. Recently I've picked up the Rode Wireless Pros, and that's what this video is all about. How's it going, guys? Hope you're all well. My name is Connor Wells. I am a freelance photographer, videographer and podcast producer, and I make videos about all those sorts of things. So I've been using the Rode Wireless Go's, the original ones. I've actually got 2 sets of them because obviously you can't pair 2 together. You don't get 2 transmitters, you only get 1 transmitter per pack and 1 receiver. So I had 2 pairs. I'd sync them up with a splitter cable and then change it to dual mono in post. These have worked really, really well for me for the first sort of 2 years I used them, but as I started taking on different projects, I encountered more problems with them. Don't get me wrong, they sound great, but for certain scenarios, they have its downfalls. For example, it's actually really easy to clip and peak the audio with them. Oftentimes when they're paired together, like separately through splitter cables, they'd cut out or they just lose signal. I'd gone through multiple splitter cables to make sure that it wasn't them. It's definitely the microphones. So I decided to pick up the Rode Wireless Pros. When these were announced, I was very, very excited. These, I think, have solved every problem I had with the original Rode Wireless Go's. So let's compare the 2 and go over the reasons why I bought the Rode Wireless Pros. The Rode Wireless Go's come with, and I should note I am recording with them right now, comes with 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. Obviously I'm using them right now, so the transmitter would go there, the receiver would go there. It comes with a charging case, USB-C, of course, as all things should be, Apple. And actually that's how you can offload the audio files as well onto your computer. We'll touch on that a little bit later. You get this cool little accessory case as well. Make sure when you're packing your camera bag, you pack the right one. So if you don't need to bring the accessories case with you and you're just going to use a transmitter and receiver, you're not going to use any lavs, make sure you pack the right case because they do look similar. So inside the accessories case, you get a couple of USB-C cables, so USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to Lightning, now that Apple has switched to USB-C for the iPhone 15 Pros and 15, you don't really need this. So that's handy. Comes with some color-coded accessories to clip onto the lavaliers. You get a little windshield thing. You get a couple of like magnetic mounts. I'm not entirely sure if I'll use these or not, but I guess that it's good to have. You know, you never know. You never know. Underneath the case, you get a little flip-up thing. So you get a fast USB-C cable. I think this is 5 gigabits per second, which is very cool, nice and fast. You can use that to either charge the Rode Wireless Go's, plugging it into a USB-C port, or you can actually plug it into your computer and access the files. You also get 2 of the Rode Lavalier Go 2s. These are great that they've chucked these in because these are typically £100 each. So I think it's great that they've chucked these in with this kit. It's sort of like the ultimate kit I really need now for filming, you know, Instagram reels, corporate videos, YouTube videos for people. You could even use it for a podcast. I don't know, they're pretty versatile. One of my favorite things is this little gold bit here. So I don't know if you can see on this gold bit here, it's got a twisting lock system because on the new transmitters, they've got a locking mechanism, which is great. The amount of weddings that I've shot where the groom has accidentally unplugged the lavalier when he's doing the speeches, or the best man's had a little bit too much to drink, put it in his pocket and accidentally pulled the lavalier out. Not fun. Audio doesn't sound great when it's in their pocket. So yeah, this is a great new addition to the Rode Wireless Go setup. And you get some updated wind muffs. You get loads here. So you've got these little round ones, which are for the Rode Wireless Go transmitters. They just go on top of them if you just want to use them. And then you've also got these little squarish ones as well, which sit on top of the Lavalier Go 2. So you get quite a lot of them. I'm glad they've included these because the original Rode Wireless Go wind wigs, wind muffs, whatever you call them, they were pretty bad. For example, if I take the Rode Wireless Go 1, that's what it looks like there. You've just got this like clip-in system and it would come out really easily. So you just sort of have to like push it in, and there's no guarantee of it actually staying in there. Like without a great deal of force, there you go. They just fell out. You can't really use them whilst like walking and talking, you know, just one little flick and it's gone. Whereas the new ones, they actually lock in, which is fantastic. So what are some of the new features of the Rode Wireless Pros? So you get timecode sync, which, you know, is great for those big projects where you actually need timecode. I don't really use timecode, you know, for me it's a little bit overkill, but for someone who does need that, great feature, perfect. Second feature obviously is the 2 lavalier goes included, which is fantastic because as great as the transmitters sound on their own, lavaliers are always going to sound so much better. They work really well with an iPhone. I've used this, no, not this cable, not yet. I've got the iPhone 15 Pro coming this week, so very excited. Yeah, I used this cable, used the Rode Capture app. That works really great. It's a little bit buggy sometimes, but it's great being able to control the audio, and the Wireless Pros work really well with that app. And my favorite feature, this was what sold it to me. You have onboard recording with 32-bit floats. Game changer. So let's talk 32-bit float. Like I said, this is the feature that sold it for me. The amount of times where I've shot a wedding or I've shot an event and I go to the talent and say, can you just give us a little 1-2, give us a few sentences in the voice that you're going to be talking in? And they might start, you know, really, really quiet. You know, they'll just talk, hi, check, 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 1 2 1 2, testing, 1 2 1 2. But then when they're on stage, they're talking really, really loud, or they're shouting, or it might be the opposite. They might shout really loud into the mic, and then when they're actually presenting or talking to camera, they're really, really quiet, which is not ideal. So your levels are a little bit different. What does that mean about 32-bit float though? 32-bit float audio is a digital audio format that uses 32 bits of data per sample, allowing for more detail in the softer and quieter areas of recording. 32-bit float recording also offers more headroom when recording, so that there's less opportunity of distortion when editing. The worst nightmare is when you come away from the shoot, listen back to the audio and it's all distorted, it's clipped, somebody's shouting to the microphone, or you've set your audio level too high or too low. You can fix that. You don't need to worry about that with 32-bit float. For the last week of using these, I've plugged them into my camera and I've not even set the level on my camera. It might be clipping on my camera right now, I don't know, but I'm hitting record on the Rode Wireless Pro. I'll show you here. So I've got the Rode Wireless Pro in my pocket here. I had it in my jacket and you can see there's like a red light on. That basically means it's recording, and it's recording internally 32-bit float. It's got 32 gig of internal recording, I believe. I'll put a graphic on screen if I'm wrong. I believe it's 32 gig of onboard recording time, which is fantastic. So if I'm talking too quietly, I can raise that volume a lot louder. I could raise that to 12 decibels higher, 24 decibels higher, and it won't get that hiss, you won't get that distortion. It doesn't have that really high noise floor. But say if I'm talking really, really, really loud, and typically with something like the Wireless Go, the original, that'll be distorted. There's no real way of saving clipped audio. AI just isn't there yet. You can try running it through something like Adobe Podcast Beta, which is amazing. I love using that feature, particularly for like Zoom calls and stuff. I'm interested to see how it would sound if I ran it through something like this. But if I set the level too high on my camera, because the original Rode Wireless Goes, they don't have onboard recording, so you're literally recording from the camera. If I set that too high and I'm speaking too loud, or the talent's speaking too loud and the audio's clipped, you know, when you see on your timeline where it's red and yellow and it's just spiking, you can bring that down, but it's still going to sound really distorted. You won't get that with 32-bit float. It's very, very hard to clip 32-bit float audio. So when I'm filming weddings now, and the groom or the best man is drunk and they're doing speeches and they're shouting and they're cheering and they got a beer in hand, you don't have to worry about clipped audio. It's going to be an absolute game changer. And for example, if you are shooting something that is super, super loud, or someone really is like shouting into the microphone, you've got backup recording. So you can set a backup recording to record, I don't know, 12 decibels lower or 10 decibels lower, which, you know, for peace of mind when it comes to editing and going into post-production of a project, it takes a huge weight off your shoulders. So now I'm going to show you some client work that I've shot using the Rode Wireless Pros. This is paid work. I've been paid to shoot this content, and I've used the Rode Wireless Pros with them, and I'll be honest, they sound so good.
If you want a well-developed, strong back, but suffer with back pain, or have poor core stability while doing bent over rows, This is a great exercise that you should be doing.
Sit up and pay attention because I'm going to give you a little mini series on how to build your brand so it stands out from the crowd.
So as you can see in those clips, they're mainly short form content pieces, but they sound really, really good. And I've not set my levels in camera. I've just pressed record on the transmitter or pressed the button on the receiver and set it to record in 32-bit float. And that's it. I've not worried or set my audio levels at all. If it's too quiet, I can bring it up. If it's too loud, I can literally just bring it down and I don't have to worry about the quality being diminished. You've also got something on there which is called gain assist. You've got two settings. So you've got auto and then you've got dynamic. So if you're talking really, really quietly and you're whispering, it will bring the level up to where you were when you start to raise your voice, and it gradually gets to the same sort of level. Whereas if you're shouting really loud, it will keep that level as to what it really should be, which I think is a pretty cool feature. Another great feature is it's still super compatible with, you know, all the other Rode accessories like the interview go. So if you're doing cringy street interview content, you don't have to worry about clipped audio, which is what all of those videos seem to have. So what are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? Switching back to the Lavalier Go 2, again, I said earlier, it's fantastic that they included these into the kit because, yeah, alone they cost £100, which, you know, it's not too bad, it's not great, it's not terrible, there's more expensive mics out there, but throwing it into this little accessories bundle, it's the perfect kit, it's all you really need. Now, what are some cons about the Rode Wireless Pros that I've found when using them for about a week and a bit? You know, I've only really got two cons, and they're very, very minor cons. I wish these two were combined into like one sort of longer, thinner case, you know, where, for example, it's just one, you know, one case, you've got a section for your accessories, but then also say on the left or right hand side, you've got your bit to charge them. This does actually take up quite a bit more space in my camera bag. Now I do sort of just have these loose rather than out of my camera bag just because I need to fit lenses in there. It does take up a little bit more space compared to the original Rode Wireless Go's, which, you know, just fit in these tiny little pouches. I just put them in like that, and that takes one compartment of my camera bag, which is the Pete McKinnon Nomadic one. You know, that's a pretty slim profile compared to this, which is quite a chunky profile. It's not a deal breaker because, you know, you get a charging case, which is fantastic. You know, you got a little LED light on there. It shows you when, you know, if they're charged or not and if they're charging and all that sort of stuff. That's great. Love that. But yeah, maybe like a thinner case, that would be quite cool. And the second con is really just sort of stylistic wise. These are going to be like a fingerprint magnet. As you can see, they are quite glossy. They are going to be like really, really, really easy to scratch. They're going to be a proper fingerprint magnet. So if I'm looking up there, that's my monitor. But yeah, they really reflect off the light. So if you are just starting out using these, make sure you clip them that way, like that, with the Rode logo out, rather than that, because that's just going to reflect off the light. You can see it just like reflecting there. Yeah, not a great look. But overall, I think the Rode Wireless Pro, you know, set is the ultimate set that you need for recording high quality audio, for content, for client work, for weddings, for short form content like Instagram Reels. I think these are the perfect microphone set. Like I said, I don't have that many critiques about them. I've used them for about a week and a half and they've been fantastic. Let me know what microphone system you're using to create your content for either yourself or for your clients. Let me know if you've got any questions about these. I'm more than happy to answer some of them in the comments if I've missed a point here. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.